So some of the factors that would affect estimation, we've had a look at it already. The skills available, whether .NET, Java, do we have the database skills? Do we have people with user experience skills, designing skills, architecting? All of these would come in. The architecture that you've taken, whether it is a client-server architecture, web-based architecture, or whether it is architecture that is open OS, for example, service-oriented architecture. You're talking about developing each of these in small little services and then join up. It's fairly loosely coupled architecture is what we call. So what is the kind of architecture involved in this product? And which lifecycle methodology? Are you trying to use agile, or are you trying to use the the waterfall, traditional waterfall? Even in agile, you've got so many. Are you using Scrum? Are you using a scaled agile methodology, something like organization-wide things which are like SAFe, DSDM, dynamic systems development model, DSDM, or SAFe, SAFe is what we call scaled agile framework. Or are we using rapid application deployment? So what is it that we're trying to kind of use for this particular development of the website? And then maturity of the processes. How mature are we in terms of developing this? So for example, this way we're talking about the experience of the painter. So a 10-year work experience painter would be slightly better in terms of handling things compared to, let's say, a youngster who has got hardly 1 or 2 years of experience. This person you can actually take the person for the left house, because it's simple, it's not that complicated, it's fairly simple on that front. Whereas on the right house, the rightmost house that you had, you would typically have somebody who has got fairly good experience in terms of handling those different types of houses and painting and different types of painting and stuff like that, using rollers and the brushes and everything else. So in the same way, if you're trying to develop a complex digital platform, for example, not just an e-commerce website, then you would need a lot of different skill sets, a lot of different experiences that need to be brought onto the table. And that's why you've got that maturity of processes coming into picture there. And the stability of the processes. How stable is the process? How good we have been following the process, not just about definition of that, but also about implementation of that process, whether it is about the communications, whether it is about development, whether are you using DevOps, for example, as a process, because it's not stable. DevOps is fairly, I'm just trying to give an example. If you're trying to implement DevOps, because of the fact that it is not really tried and tested yet in your organization or within the team, so you should take it with a pinch of salt, with a caution, and not just give exact watertight estimates. So that's something which you need to look at again. And then you also need to look at the tools that you're using, the level of automation that is involved. Are you using Excel, like the case that I was talking about in the Public Health England, where they had this defect and people could not report the 10,000 odd deaths that occurred due to COVID? Is it because you have got a manual intervention there where somebody was actually trying to upload an Excel spreadsheet into a system, or is it something that is automated all the way through, back-to-back automation? So you need to understand that as well in terms of how much of automation is involved in this picture, in this particular program, project, or initiative. And then the user's knowledge of application, how knowledgeable they are. So for example, somebody who's using a roller for such a long time, you can't obviously ask them to actually use fine brushing and using fine brushes and different types of brush coats, because they've got two different types of application methodologies. So you need to really be aware of that. And then the imposed or expected delivery is again something very important. So this is from the business point of view. I want this to be done by April. I want that to be done by September 2021. These are the kind of things that would actually drive the technology. Remember, whatever we're delivering is actually kind of benefiting the business. It is delivering a business value. It's not for technology. So you need to work backwards and make sure that you're delivering whatever you're trying to deliver. A website should be used by your customers. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful, if it's fantastic technology, if it's great working on Python, it doesn't matter. End of the day, it's the same thing. It's the same website. End of the day, nobody's going to open the source code and look at what kind of platform or what did you use JavaScript, except the developers. I think about 90% of the user base would not be interested in the technologies, the tools that are used, and the kind of things that you use to create this website. Same like about 90% of the drivers don't really worry about what is under the hood. If you say 1.6 engine, so they'll just write on 1.6 liter engine. Fair enough. That's powerful enough for me. They don't open the engine. They don't look at the engine type. Where does it start? The spark plug. 90% of the drivers don't really care about that. In the same context, in the development initiative, IT development, you don't really need to focus too much on the technologies. What is important is the experience, the user experience, the kind of service delivery that is actually kind of focused on. That's what is important for you to appreciate.